Here's part 2. We're going to apply the gusset. If you have directional fabric, make sure you're putting it on the right way and just clip it in place. And then you flip it over. I didn't show you that. You flip it over and you add your liner and then you clip it on. Don't forget to take off your regular foot and add your zipper foot. This is a zipper foot I have. It's kind of old school, but I love this zipper foot. It's amazing to work with. And then you sew on what we just clipped together. Okay, and then when you're sewing, just zip up the zipper pull and make sure it's out of your way so you're not making a zigzag in your lines when you're adding your zipper tape. And then open that up, iron it out, flatten it out, give it a nice press so that way you can stitch on that top seam. So when we add our zippers, we're just gonna do this repetitively. Clip, iron, sew. Clip, clipping on the zipper, iron again, and then make a top seam. I know it seems repetitive, but I want you guys to know the steps on how to do this. And then you take the bottom to the top, you clip that in place. Like I said, it's repetitive, but you got to know how to do it. And you flip it over, and then you add your last piece of liner, and then get all those pieces you don't want, and then just clip it in place. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to flip it right side out, because in order to sew on that last top stitch, we have to take off the zipper pull and pull it apart. Yep, you won't be able to do it unless you do it that way. And after you do your top stitch, I just take a pin and a clip to make sure that it's lined up correctly. So when I put the zipper back on, everything is back where it should be. And then, yeah, you're going to have to put the zipper fully back on. Take your pin and clip out. And guess what? You're going to have to pull the zipper off. The zipper pull off. And then put it back on. And then pull it right side out. And then here comes the tricky part. Take your fabric and line it up together and kind of get that zipper tape out of the way. And then clip it in place and you zip around, you sew around that whole thing while trying to get the zipper tape out of the way as much as you can so that you can sew those pieces together, and just sew it at 1/4 of an inch. And that's a good spot to, not 1/8 of an inch, but 1/4 of an inch. And then on the other part of the bag, do the same thing. Pull that zipper tape out of the way, and I just put a big clip on there to kind of help it hold it in place. You don't want to sew around the whole thing. You want to have an opening right there so that way you can pull your bag through. So leave that open. And then I cut the strings away because I don't stop sewing. I just keep sewing, and then I pull the thread out a little bit, and then it's just easier that way. So, and then now we are going to find the middle of the gusset and mark it with a heat erase pen. This will make sense once you do it. So mark that, and then mark the part of your bag to find the middle. Make that mark, and then what you're going to want to do is line those two lines up together so you know where the center of your bag is going to be. So yeah, you just line up those two marks, and then you'll clip it in place. It's pretty simple. I mean, get the gist of it. Okay, and then you take a chopstick or something pointy, because sometimes those corners tend to ruffle up on itself because of the quilted part of the bag, and then clip it in place. Do the same thing on that corner, and then you want to sew it, and you don't want your liner pieces getting sewn in, so I just pin it to kind of just keep it together in place. It definitely helps doing that. And then sew along that line. And then when I'm sewing, when I get to my zipper tape, I'm going to forward stitch, and then I'm going to back stitch and forward stitch. So that's 3 times, and I'm going to do the same thing on this zipper tape because it's a lot of pulling and wear and tear over time, so you really want to have some good security there. And then just cut off the excess on both sides. So now you're going to want to do your corners. I use a template. It's a 1 3/4 of an inch, and then I just, use my heat eraser pen, and then you just cut your corners. And then you want to do this for every corner. Okay, and then you want to put in your handle with your clip and make sure it's even in the middle. And then clip it in place and clip on your D-ring and make sure it's not twisted up in there. And then clip it in place. And then sew, clip all your other boxy corners. And when it comes to the D-ring and your hardware, you want to go over it a couple times, also opening up that flap so you have no bulk. So yeah, forward and then back and forward again for that wear and tear. Always back stitch and cut off the excess. Just cut off that extra bulk that you really don't need. Okay, and then you find your opening. Remember where we didn't stitch on that one part of the liner? Now you're going to want to pull your bag through. This is the most satisfying part, seeing if you did everything correctly. And there she is. Make sure your corners and everything look good, because if they don't, now would be the time to open up your bag and fix it. And it looks good, you guys. I hope you have followed along this long of the video. I appreciate your support and watching this tutorial. Give this video a thumbs up and follow and share if you'd like. I hope you know that Jesus loves you, and don't forget to sew the last part of the bag. You can iron this if you want. Oh yeah, you want to open it up and then just take the 2 corners and cut off the corner. This will help the corners of the bag have a little bit more opening. Like, it'll just help the bag look better and also give it more space in there for more capacity for your wipes and diapers and cream or whatever you want to put in there, extra pair of clothes. And then just cut those little spaces that way, not up to the string, because you don't want to cut that off. And then take your chopstick and push those corners out. I love using that chopstick. I use it for a lot of things, not just for corners, but for lots of sewing things. And then just push those corners in, and then you can iron it and then just sew right across. What do you guys think? I think it